People, I know I'm back sooner than you might have anticipated, seeing as I usually only do a couple of these videos a month, but I was feeling pretty trashed while I was doing my full moon reading and doing another reading today, just a 4 card reading this time. Just kind of the overall themes, the first card, and then, past, present, future influence. I'm using a deck that unfortunately I can't provide you a link for it because it's not available on Scamazon. It may be out of print. It's from it's what's in my ear. There's always like this piece that just doesn't want to obey. Anyway, um, it's from Llewellyn Publishing. I looked for a link for you, but there isn't one, so it may be out of print. It's possible, you can do a search for it if you want to try that. Oh, never mind. I guess my hair's just going to have this place. Ishbel's Temple of Isis Egyptian Tarot, where they use the various Egyptian deities, symbols. And so I was not surprised that my overall theme of what I'm dealing with is Anubis, the god of death. So what we're looking at with him is it's a god of mummification in the afterlife. And yeah, I've been dealing with a lot of loss and, people leaving the material world, also animals leaving the material world. And apparently I am not dealing with it very well, which um, anybody who knew me might not be surprised by that. Somehow I'm surprised by it, like, hey, over this. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't have a whole lot of patience with myself. Um, Earlier this week when I was sick, and I am the worst sick person in the world that you would ever not want to deal with. I don't do well with being sick. I don't take it in stride. I don't be like, all right, relax, let your body heal. I'm like, fuck you, get back to work, stop whining. So I don't know. I'm not going to go into wherever I may think that comes from. But the upshot is, I decided I am not going to do any more of this Eating Disorders Anonymous recovery writing. I don't have an active eating disorder. I have been doing intuitive eating for about 10 years and doing pretty well with it. There have been, peaks and valleys. But, the more I learn about just how prejudiced medical personnel are trained to be when it comes to larger people and not even like explore what's going on with you get a larger patient, just automatically assuming. And these days, of course, if you're bigger, you're going to get the fucking GLP-1 thrust at you, despite the fact that these fucking drugs have a laundry list of shit that can go wrong with people who are using them, and it goes wrong more often than they care to admit. I've spoken about my experiences with Ozempic. Just to reiterate, I was not using it to attempt weight loss because I don't think that's going to happen with all my endocrine problems, but my doctor said it can help with inflammation, which I do have problems with. So I tried that. Um, well, the first thing was the brain fog set in. Fucking dealing with the brain fog from the get. And I just did not feel good. Didn't, people, oh, I have so much more energy. Well, I don't know what the fuck planet you come from. Different one from me, apparently, because that's the last thing I felt. I felt just, I'm never a ball of fire, but I just was like, oh my God, no energy. And then I just felt sick, like trash, sick. And, the, one of the suggestions was eat only bland foods. Well, kiss my fat ass. I'm not going to spend whatever remaining years I have eating only fucking bland foods. So right there, I was going, yeah, I don't know, but I kept using it in the hopes that maybe, all right, this will pass and I'll acclimatize to it. Yeah, but then the really bad diarrhea. Oh, there's no other way to say it. It was terrible. And after that, I started feeling like I was being boiled from the inside. I have problems with temperature regulation. Oh boy, howdy. And I was like, no more. No. Went back to using long-acting insulin instead. Works much better for me. I don't have problems with it. I do take some oral medications to keep the um, blood glucose in check as well. I tolerate them. Um, for those who have been using metformin and having digestive issues, if you ask for the extended release version, it might help. It did for me. I can't use the regular metformin because I don't like living in the bathroom. So, but the extended release helps with that. I don't have those problems. So, just for those of you who live with the joy of diabetes. Anyway, where the fuck was I? Anubis. A friend Anubis, you know, dealing with all this loss. And anyway, oh yeah, I got to this because I had been, it's like, I'm not going to do this writing anymore. I was thinking maybe it's interfering with my ability to do fiction writing. But after 5 days of not doing the EPA recovery writing, the inner critic whom I call Discount Jillian Michaels, because fuck that bitch, came back just full force with, whereas it had been months since I'd heard much of a peep from her when I was getting up in the morning. And now the old, get your fat lard ass out of bed, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, imagine fucking starting the day like that. Fuck off. So, yeah, it's keeping her static tone down. The fiction writing serves a different purpose. It was keeping the ADHD static tone down. I was just feeling yesterday like, and this morning, like, my God, I've lost all of it. And none of it means anything, really. I'm just a pile of discombobulated wires, and I'm just trying to regulate that. I am so fucking broken. Um, and just this feeling of everything I do is just to shut up the fucking inner chatter and the noise and the bullying of one sort and another. And that's, and I think about when people say the world needs your writing. I always say, no, it fucking doesn't. Why would it? I'm only doing it for me. But I realized something, which is that before my mother died, I was able to acclimatize myself to certain types of writing. Like, for instance, all right, we're going to write a romance, and these beats, blah, blah, blah. Well, what I lost, it was, I don't know why, but people have just like this real, hatred of writing, people writing vignettes, and basically that's pretty much what the first few books that I published were. And this hair is going to piss me off so bad. Was a series of interconnected vignettes, and it was something. I really loved writing them, and I loved what the end result was. What if that's really the best way for me to write? What the fuck if? What the fuck if I don't conform to what people think is proper writing? Well, what the hell? They're not reading my other writing anyway. I might as well write shit the way I want to. But I had this thought about, this whole thing of I'm just doing it for myself. For some reason, that rings hollow, except for fan fiction, where it's like, yeah, I am just doing that for myself. I, fan fiction was actually, God, I'm sorry, how I got back into writing after I was away from it for quite some time. After the book that I foolishly went through, that predatory pod publisher, Outskirts Press, if those fuckers are still out there, and I'm not going to go check, but if they're still out there, my God, avoid them like the plague. Avoid them like I wish I could avoid this goddamn ingrown toenail I've been dealing with. Fuck, our bodies are stupid. Anyway, I've been dealing with the shock waves from my mother's passing a year and a half ago, a little over a year and a half ago. And I'm still dealing with them and having to confront a whole lot of stuff about myself that I didn't want to confront. When it comes to my Substack, for instance, I don't hardly ever get any kind of acknowledgement there. No likes, no nothing. I keep doing it because otherwise all I'm doing is just moving my house, and there's not really a better platform for this shit. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not good at promoting myself. Whatever. Let's move on to the present position, realizing that Nubis, he's just fucking presiding over this whole thing, and his energy anyway. So we have here Uto, this very cool winged snake. I like Uto. So the past influences from Uto. Let's go have a look at what he has to say. Best. I thought he was like close to the front. Okay, no, he's number 17. God of the Sun and the Afterlife. Well, all right, so we're still dealing with this whole afterlife thing. And there's the agnostic, the more atheist part of my agnostic philosophy on life, my agnostic view. And so, there's mostly I lean more towards the spiritual, actually, but there is the atheist part. There ain't no afterlife. Well, you know what, bitch? If that's true, I've still got to survive what years I got to survive. And they might as well not be completely miserable. So that's another thing. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. I'm sorry if anybody comes here looking for reassurance about anything, because I ain't got it. What I can do is tell you that, you're not alone in your struggles. You're not alone in walking the path. I've been feeling really alone, and I don't know, I might share a bit of what I wrote this morning, but I'd like to continue on with this reading so it doesn't get completely disconnected. Wow, this video's already longer than my full moon video was, and that was a full reading. It shows you just how crap I was feeling that day. This is the present influence, the savior of crooks. It'll take me a minute to. Luckily, this guide was online, so I could look for that. Oh gosh, we're doing some sprints, so I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Crooks. The crooks are similar to the swords, discipline, conflict, and mental strength. The savior is the knight in the regular tarot. So basically, he's the knight of swords. He's coming in, with this thought of mental strength, trying um, to establish kind of a practice of discipline without it being a punitive discipline. And if you have ADHD, this can be really hard. And I was having to start learning it when I was in my 50s. I'm now 61. I'm still trying to, I don't know. I guess it's like, it's okay, had a bad day. All right, Gen X, you'll get it. So that's the present influence trying to, establish this path of discipline, but not punitive discipline. No, I'm walking more towards a Buddhist path at this point than the Christianity path, which a lot of that was, let's face it, a lot of it was punishment. And I didn't realize until I was older that a lot of the influence that was coming in, it wasn't the good part of Christianity, it was the prosperity gospel part. And my father had fallen hard for that. And it doesn't mean you're stupid if you fell for that. Lots of people do. My father was a college professor. Some of the literature that he had around that he was trying to glean wisdom from it. Oh, people, it was bad. It was a swamp. It was a cesspool. I wish I could have guided him to a different way. Oh, it's painful. All right, so our future influence is Osiris. Now, being one of those king kind of people. I think maybe Osiris, he's a little bit the tough guy, but Osiris, he's a sacrificed god. And here he's number 20, god of the afterlife, resurrection, and justice. So actually, he's appearing in a more benevolent presentation here, kind of being your guide to these ideas. And, if you're interested, which I've been interested in Egyptian mythology my entire life, I'm sorry I can't guide you to a copy of this deck because I don't know, it may be out of print. You might do a search for it. It's my best advice on that. It was published by, like I said, it was published by Llewellyn Publications. You might do a search at their site. You can potentially also, yikes, I'm so sorry, people. Hold on a minute. I just had to go use that. The fucking rubber duck scared the hell out of me. Oh my God. I will put a link to the Dawdling Writers channel. That's where I'm following along with the stream. I'm also about to pull up the AutoCrit's midday sprints. when they're doing their novel 90s, oh my God, you hear all these sounds, I swear. That was my thing. Hey, it's midday spreads. Anyways, um, when they're doing the novel 90 thing, which they're starting towards wrapping up the last part of the summer novel 90, I'll just put a link to AutoCrit, but what it's going to do is put you to the main page. If you want novel 90, just do a search for AutoCrit novel 90. You can still join, even though it's toward the end. You can create a free account. The sprints, like the midday sprints and that, those are all anybody, whether it's a free account or a pro account, can join them. For some of the things, you do have to have a pro account. Can't say, hey, terrible old woman, can you have them make an exception for me? No, I can't. They won't make an exception for me either. So I am not part of the AutoCrit team. I'm just somebody who's been using it. I've been a lifetime member since 2023. I have never regretted it. I've found it to be very useful. That's one I can genuinely say I have gotten a lot of use out of it. However, everybody's different, and whatever of these writing systems will work for you, you should try each of them. Be sure to, if they got a free trial period, use it. Don't be a dipshit like me, because often I wouldn't use it. I would forget it. I have a lifetime of the download version of Plotter, and it's been helpful for me because I will say this with AutoCrit. AutoCrit is great for your self-editing piece. In part, it's very good for planning. Where I don't find it helpful, where I get really lost for planning, is they have this notes cards feature, but it's like, it's not like real user friendly, I don't find anyway. Maybe it's just the way my brain works. I will be back in a minute. I'm just going to pause here. Okay, let's get back to it. What I was saying about AutoCrit software, the note cards feature to me is kind of incomprehensible. They're not right there. With Plotter, they're right there. So the Plotter version I have is the software download. I don't have access to the online. I mean, I've got access to my account online, but I can't use Plotter from anywhere. I have to be using it with the computer that I have downloaded it to. So anyway, I find Plotter's system much better for my character sheets, so I can go back and forth between where I'm drafting and for the word, and I can look at my characters in Plotter. That part of AutoCrit's planning, I don't know, maybe if your brain works different from mine, it might be great. I never figured it out, but for the editing part, and for parts of the planning phase, like for working out your different types of characters and your beats and things like that, the AutoCrit planning software is good. I still say that where they really shine is with the editing part. But anyway, I've never regretted having the lifetime membership. I have a lifetime membership to Campfire, which it's great in theory. I've never used it, unfortunately. It kind of, that, a lot of that came from my spending addiction. Right. Okay, anyway, where was all right. Um, anyway, yeah, campfire looks great. I've never really used it. Why do I have a lifetime membership? But I do. So if I ever use it, there it is. Um, Plotter, I'm glad that I got the software. I don't think I need the kind of extended subscription version. The software works for me. Um, I use For the Words for drafting because I like defeating the monsters. But however, I also use writtenkitten.co, which is a completely free program when I don't really have an idea of how many words I'm going to put in For the Words. Then I do it in Written Kitten. I copy or cut and paste it into For the Words to get my monster that way. You can do that, and I will put my code for the words if you decide to check it out. Again, I'm not doing any product placement here. Nobody's given me anything. These are all things that I purchase and or just use myself. So other than that, I guess I'll provide a link to my Substack. Read my Substack. That's my only plug, but that's from me. Um, and I guess I'll provide a link to Reader Spheres too, which is that's old blog of mine where uh, promotion stuff mostly. Not my books because I haven't published anything in a while. Um, yeah, I was going to read to you a little bit what I wrote this morning. Fucking Zoom AI. Oh, let's see here, people. All right. You didn't ask for it, but you've got it. I had shared something with, about my only friend in the world and my brother this morning. Both of whom are fighting their own battles. So, anyway, so I wrote, my hope in sharing this piece is to explain to the only people I still feel that I have any connection to at all why I am the way I am. However, I understand that you have better things to do than take time out of your day to read about my garbage excuse for a brain and my struggles with it. Um, so this was the response to the creator of the piece I shared with them, and I should provide a link to that. Oh my God, if I forget any of the links I should provide, I'm so sorry. Um, so what I said to them is I feel this strongly in regards to their Substack post. When my health forced me to go on disability 7 years ago, the mask I'd worn for decades, my work persona, was ripped away. I didn't know who I was without my job. I became aware that I'd been driven by anxiety for decades and masking my anxiety so the world thought I was in control. I appeared competent at work, but away from work, I was falling apart. My home was a shambles where almost nothing functioned correctly. I froze in the winter and baked in the summer. I was so mired in anxiety that I couldn't keep anything clean. I lived with food insecurity despite working all the time. I didn't know it at the time, but I have a shopping addiction. I was always buying stuff to distract myself from how out of control I felt. I'm still trying to figure things out, and most of the time I feel really lost. Nobody gets me. I tried to be part of the writing community, but nobody there understands me. Hell, even the neurodivergent community doesn't understand me. I'm too weird and unlikable for everyone. The following, the following is something I had written earlier this morning. Without the EDA recovery writing, The critical inner voice that I call Discount Jillian Michaels comes back in full force, insulting me because of the size of my body, no matter the reason for the disappointment in myself. So the recovery writing serves the function of quieting the body shaming static from this nasty inner critic. In the meantime, the fiction writing serves the function of quieting the ADHD chatter. It saddens me greatly that my art is only a function to tone down my pathologies. I wanted it to be something a little bit special for the world. I know how egotistical that is. But other than writing fan fiction, I'm just doing it for myself rings hollow. Still, I don't for 1 minute believe the platitude that the world needs my stories. For context, I decided earlier this week that I was going to stop going to the EDA writing meetings. I don't have an active eating disorder, and I didn't have one when I started going to them. I started going because of my long-standing self-loathing and body image issues. I decided that I was wasting everyone's time because I'm never going to work the 12 steps. I got something out of the writing, but I felt like it was interfering with my ability to write fiction. However, I've realized that the different types of writing serve different functions. And now, true confessions time, people, get ready. I always related to Mr. Spock. Yes, I had quite the embarrassing crush on him and wrote bad self-insert fan fiction. Very bad, very bad, I guarantee. Where I became a gorgeous 25-year-old who looked very much like Suzanne Summers, and he fell in love with me. This awful writing still exists somewhere, and I will have to kill anyone who finds it because they would have several lifetimes worth of blackmail material. However, the real point is I related to Mr. Spock because he was badly misunderstood by pretty much everyone. And I have another little story to share here. I'm making up for things, people. I'm making up for that shoddy full moon reading. Um, Part of me sometimes thinks I'm too smart for other people to get. I actually don't believe that. Although I did once take a test that said I could get into Mensa if I wanted to, I don't want to hang around with a bunch of people who think they're superior because they scored high on an IQ test. I'm sure not everybody in Mensa is like that, but I've met a few who would. So let's just say that. So this is something I'm just retelling from. I read Alex Van Halen's book Brothers about him and Eddie and their family, and that one I can give you a link to. Alex Van Halen scored very high on an IQ test, and one of the teachers basically announced it in front of the class. He said he wished nobody had told him what his score was because he thinks everyone has certain strengths and no one is better than anyone else because of a score on a test. He also said that he wished nobody else knew about his score because then he never knew if people really liked him or if they were just being like, hey, Alex, you're smart. Will you do my homework for me? But back to me rather than to great drummers of the world. I think with the fiction writing, I need to stop trying to write like everyone else. Before my mother died, I was okay at adapting to a certain type of story structure. Since her death, I've been wrestling with my PTSD reaction that tells me I'm a selfish piece of shit for wanting to indulge in a luxury hobby like writing. The same thing happened in 2013 when a wave slammed into the side of my car during the 100-year flood in Boulder, and I thought I was going to be washed into the new lake that had formed across from the Boulder Reservoir on Baseline. The inner critic admonished me that good people died while a selfish piece of shit like me survived. What right do I have to indulge in luxury hobbies? It asked. Excuse me. It isn't a hobby, though. It's the thing that quiets my ADHD chatter, so shut up, discount Jillian Michaels, or whatever iteration of my self-loathing you are. And people, I would just take medication like good and normal people do. Except psych meds don't work on me the way they work on good and normal people. I have paradoxical reactions to most of them, so it's a no from me. If you have been listening to all this, I want to thank all of you for taking your time. I am not good. I am definitely not normal. I'm just doing what I have to do to make whatever time I have left in this world bearable. I know I'm too much for most people. I know most people don't get me. I know most people don't like me. I hope there may be some aspect of me that some of you see as worthwhile, that you get something from these blatherings that I put out there. And, I want to wish all of you the best. I want to wish you peace. I want to wish you luck with whatever you're working on. I want to tell you to not let other people silence your real voice. 'Cause that's what I've let people do to me, and I'm struggling, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. But I'm glad I am here to share this with you. And, if you watch this, whatever blessings I can help convey to you from the universe, I am conveying that now. I hope you have the best and brightest. I hope August treats you well. I hope the rest of 2026 treats you well. I hope wherever you're at right now when you're seeing this, that it treats you well. May you have peace. May you have joy. May you be blessed. I love you. Thank you.